I'm Tyler McCaul, and this is my garage. I've ridden for GT bikes for 15 years now, and I've built up quite the collection from the last decade and a half. Some of them are relics from the past, but a lot of them are bikes that you can get today at Jenson, USA. So I wanted to dive in, give you a little rundown of some of my favorites, old and new, and yeah, let's check them out. First bike we're going to start out with is this one that I just finished building up about a week ago, and it's quickly become my new favorite do-it-all bike that I have in my collection. It's a 2023 GT Sensor Carbon Pro, and although I started with just a frame and built it up from scratch, you can get the complete version at Jenson USA with a few different options for a build kit. I've only ridden this bike a couple of times, but I'm already obsessed with it. It's light, it's fast, it's got just enough travel to handle anything. And if I had to have only one bike, this would probably be it. For my personal one, I put a Marzocchi Bomber Z1 up front and the Bomber Air out back. I've got a full 12-speed Shimano XTR drivetrain with the 11-51 tooth cassette and the XTR cranks and brakes to match. Up front, we've got the Deity Black Label bars, knuckle duster grips, copper head stem, and of course, my signature pedals. We've got the Race Face turbine wheels and Maxxis tires. I wanted to keep this bike super light, so I decided to go with the Maxxis Exo casing tires rather than the double down. I've got the Ardent 29x24 in the front and Ardent Race 29x235 in the back. Jenson's running some insane deals right now to where you can pick up a complete sensor for as low as $1,600. Next up is the big brother to the Sensor, and it's a GT Force Carbon Pro. This thing's super similar to the Sensor, but has more travel at 160mm instead of 140mm. It's also got a high pivot design and utilizes an idler pulley to limit chain growth. This thing handles the rough stuff super well and is a bike I grab when I plan on riding trails that are super rough and steep, but it rides really well on the mellow stuff as well. Next up is probably my favorite bike of all time. It's my 2022 GT Fury Carbon Pro. This frame and fork were custom painted by Dustin Carlson at Technar with some design help from Hazy and the Robots. It was a bike I rode last year in my 10th Red Bull Rampage. The graphics and wings logo were designed by Cindy Balsaitis at GT and inspired by the legendary chrome GT Mach 1 from the early 90s. The graphics on the Marzocchi 58 up front pay homage to the legendary 12-inch travel Marzocchi Super Monster T that Josh Bender used to ride. This bike is one that I'm super attached to, and I'm likely to keep in my collection for a long time, if not forever. Now this bike's a bit of a relic, and these are hard to find these days. It's an older generation Force Carbon Pro with 27.5-inch wheels front and rear. I fell onto this bike for the simple fact that I think 27.5-inch wheels are more fun for certain things. After riding that new Sensor though, it's got me pretty convinced that I might not be needing this bike much longer. For now, it's fun to pull off the wall when I want to ride something a little different, and I think I'll probably keep it around a little while longer. This one's a bike I haven't gotten to spend much time on yet because I had to have surgery on my ankle shortly after building it and filming all of this, but I'm looking forward to getting to know it real well once I'm back on the bike. It's the newest generation of GT Fury, and it's an improved version of the Fury I've come to know and love. It's already proven it can win races, as GT Factory Racing's Junior World Cup overall champion Ryan Pinkerton has already proven, along with Ethan Craig, who took it to an elite podium at Mont Saint Anne this year. Now onto the little bikes. This is my GT La Bomba dirt jumper. I ride a size large, which has a longer than usual top tube, but they also make a size medium if you're looking for something a little bit shorter. There's something special about the simplicity of a single speed hardtail with just one brake that's super refreshing, and I pick this thing up whenever I'm looking for a change of scenery and want to hit the pump track or local dirt jumps. Now the complete opposite of the La Bomba is the GT E-Force amp. This bike utilizes the proven Shimano EP8 motor to take you further and give you a little help along the way. I first got this bike after I last broke my ankle, and it was a huge help during my recovery and served as a stepping stone to get me back on my regular bike. I found myself reaching for it well after my recovery though. It's a great tool to have in the arsenal for those times when you just want to get the most bang for your buck out of your ride and spend less time climbing. Since these full-powered e-bikes aren't trying to win any Weight Watchers comps, I chose some different parts for this build and went with a Bomber CR coil shock in the rear and Z1 coil up front. Last but not least, and another collector's item that I'll likely hold on to forever, is my GT Distortion. This bike was never released to the public and was a custom frame that GT and I designed back in my slopestyle days on the FMB World Tour. But now it's just a fun bike to keep around. I hop on it every now and then. It's a little more familiar than a hardtail since I spend so much more time on my downhill bike and trail bikes these days, and sometimes it's good to just have a rear shock. Got some interesting parts on it, like this Shimano XT Di2 electronic shifting setup. Back when I started using this bike for crankwork speed and style events, I was having trouble with my mechanical setup auto shifting every time I do a bar spin or a tail whip. This Di2 setup solved that, and although I haven't raced speed and style in a few years now, I still leave it on there just because it works well and I think it's kind of cool. I've had these Deity T-Mac prototypes on here for at least 5 years now. They have a titanium spindle to shave some weight, and I hope to see these in production one day. That wraps it up for all the bikes I have hanging on my wall that actually get ridden, but I got a few other favorites from over the years that I've held on to because they were just too good to let go. This right here is actually the first downhill frame that I ever got from GT back when I first started riding for them in 2009. It was one of the first carbon prototypes of the first generation Fury, and a frame that brings back a lot of memories. It looks a bit like a spaceship in this day and age, but at the time it was the coolest thing ever. I was 19 years old and had always dreamed of one day riding for GT, so having this frame in my possession was a pretty special thing for me, and I had a lot of fun on this bike. This next one was from a couple years later once that last Fury was finally in production, and this was a custom painted Team Edition only colorway that I rode in 2011. It was super bright, loud, kind of not really my style, but for some reason I dug it. I did a lot of really fun video projects on this bike. It was during a period in my career where I started spending a lot more time on my downhill bike, and I was slowly getting more and more hooked on the big mountain freeride stuff. In hindsight, it was a pretty pivotal time for me in my career as I eventually quit slopestyle to pursue big mountain more seriously. This bike brings back a lot of memories and I had a lot of fun on it. The only complete bike that I have that I never actually ride, but I've kept all original over the years, is this Generation 2 Fury. I rode this bike at Red Bull Rampage in 2013, and it took me to a 5th place that year. "2013 was the first year I rode for Marzocchi, and this is from before they were bought out by Fox Shocks, and it was all made in Italy. It worked really well for the time, but things have sure come a long way since then." Well, that sums it up for my ever-growing collection of GT bikes. Hopefully you enjoyed checking all these bikes out and you learned a little history about GT along the way. Now go check out the collection currently available at jensonusa.com, and I hope you can start a collection of your own.